Hello everyone, and welcome back to an episode of Dead by Daylight, the Archive Hunter, storytelling. Now, I'm not going to be talking much throughout this video. I'm actually going to be sitting here eating because I am actually quite hungry. But, without further ado, I'm just going to let you guys listen to all of these stories, and let's just hop right into it. Oh yeah, the roof closed.
Don't play.
Alright, sorry about that little interruption. You guys probably didn't see it, but there was, everything was just showing that it was, new and all that, so I had to figure out where I was. But, we're back here, so let's just go ahead and autoplay and all that.
Her long walk home after an exhausting yet exhilarating practice. She holds her lucky piece of tire in her hand, though she doesn't really believe in luck. She hears her mom's voice rattle in her brain. The only luck you get is the luck you make. Yet, the piece of tire kind of looks like a horseshoe. Coincidence? Probably. She admires her lucky slice of tire and starts when she hears a twig snap behind her. Before she realizes what's happening, she's thrust to the ground by a shadowy figure who stomps on her ankle. Terrible pain shoots up her spine, and she screams for help as the shadow bolts away. Meg screams in agony as she desperately scrambles to her feet. As soon as her wounded foot touches the ground, another sharp pain rushes through her like wildfire, and she collapses. She closes her eyes, gathers herself, suppresses her pain, and reaches around for something, anything, to support her weight. A moment later, she grabs a thick, gnarled branch and shrieks as she forces herself to stand. Every step home is like a hammer smashing at her ankle. The doctor tells Meg her foot is fractured in several places and she should probably stay off it until it heals. She shambles out of the office on crutches with her mother by her side. Meg can sense she's worried about her and how she's to settle the bill without insurance. They drive home in silence. "Mom, I'm sorry." Meg breaks the silence. Her mother shakes her head. "Don't apologize, Meg. There's no need for that. I'm just glad you're okay. Could have been a lot worse." Meg nods and replays the assault over and over again in her mind. The push, the kick, the stomping. Nothing about what happened makes sense. The perpetrator didn't mug or try to steal anything from her. Meg's mother breaks the silence and asks if she remembers anything about the man since they spoke to the police. Meg shakes her head. "I'm not even sure it was a man." Meg confides in her mother at the kitchen table. She's convinced Dana arranged for someone to wound her to discourage her from running. Anger overwhelms her and she says things she wouldn't normally say. "I want her dead. I want to crush her like a bug. I want her to burn in fucking hell. I would have won that race." Her mother listens to her without judgment and waits for her to calm down. "You're very upset and I understand, but don't. Don't stoop to her level. Don't let her turn you into what you're not. You want revenge? Best revenge is success. Let her know you're the best, even at your worst, and that will be her worst freckin' hell." Meg narrows her eyes on her mother. Her mother squeezes her hand. "If you think you're beaten, you are. If you think you can't, you can't. Life's battles aren't won with speed and strength, but mind and will." Tears fill Meg's eyes. Not because of her mother's advice, but because she knows her mother's days are numbered. And this is probably one of their last be-positive pep talks. Her mother hands over a box she pulls from under the table. Meg lifts the lid to reveal a black dress unlike anything she's ever seen or worn. Before she can say anything, her mother laughs. Not only will you win, but you'll be the jewel of the after party. Meg feels a lump growing in her throat. Don't lose all your strength focusing on the negative. Her mother used to be a competitive tennis player. All Meg heard growing up was stories about Billie Jean King. Meg waits for the listen to win pep talk she's heard so many times she's lost count. Her mother relates how she would listen to a radio broadcast of King's game to steer her mind away from fear and negativity. Fill your brain with success so there's no room for anything else. She's prepared a special mix for Meg on her pod. Meg takes the pod and stares at it a moment. A long moment. Then she leaps across the table and embraces her mother and never wants to let go. Meg listens to a radio broadcast as she enters school. Fastest runner ever. The Buckeye Bullet taking the gold at the Olympics despite every mental and physical obstacle leveled against him. She listens to the same broadcast over and over again. Fill your head with wind so there's no room for fear or doubt. Coach approaches Meg as she puts her pod down beside her. I heard a nasty rumor that Dana may have had something to do with your leg, and I've decided to pull her from the race. Meg shakes her head. Please, don't do that. I'm going to beat her, Coach, and I'm going to win. Coach's eyes widen. You're going to do what? You didn't just say you're going to win. You're not actually thinking of running on that foot. Meg hesitates, then lies. Doctor says it's fine and that it's just a little bruised. Coach touches the foot. Meg shrieks. She gives Meg a skeptical look, sighs, says nothing else, and leaves. Dare damsel Meg grabs her pod, raises the volume of the broadcast, and fills her mind with greatness as the Buckeye Bullet makes the dictator eat his dust.
Okay then, we'll just watch the little clip and move on to the next one. That's what you get, Dana. You still lose.
The boy holds his hours, days, weeks. He's not sure how much time has passed. His eyes never left the hatch as he repeated countless math problems in his mind to avoid facing the truth that she has disappeared with the rest of his people. He hears her voice, her laugh, her sighs. He wants to see her again. He wants to see his parents, his friends and neighbors. He wants to see them all. But he knows his life will never be the same again, and he would rather be dead than live without them. He closes his eyes and descends into the cool night. The smell of rotting humanity instantly assaults his senses, reminds him of roadkill left in the sun for days, only worse. He searches the moonlight ground and soon finds his father's bell by the charred remains of a body. What happened? You were supposed to keep a lookout. You were supposed to warn us. He takes the bell and cries out for his grandmother in a raspy whisper. But the whisper turns into an endless scream. He screams until he loses his voice. And all that answers back is the deafening silence of the cold, indifferent night. He falls to his knees, taps his bell with his finger, and wishes he could just disappear from this living nightmare. Village to village, it's always the same scene. Death and destruction. Burnt cars, homes, and bodies. His people disappearing in a seemingly endless mixture of fog and smoke. He can't move anymore. He doesn't have the strength or will. The smoke stings his eyes. The stench makes him want to retch with every inhale. But most of all he can't take. The silence. The horrible silence. The oppressive, dreadful, indifferent silence. He stops and sits by a tree with a vulture hovering close to him, waiting for him to die. This one wants its meat fresh, raw, not burnt or doused in kerosene. He closes his eyes for a moment and drifts away, far away. But soon he hears a voice like his mother's. He opens his eyes to see a woman and several muddied children staring at him. The mother extends an open hand. "You must come with me." Philip doesn't answer. He can't answer. There's no warmth or wetness in his mouth. His throat is like sand. His eyes are like tar. The woman hands him a flask, and he drinks as though he's never had water before. She tells him her name is Funanya, and that he should come with her. "I don't want to run anymore. I want to die." The mother keeps her hand extended, and that is why you must live. You must live to tell others what happened, to bear witness. Philip stares beyond the woman and fixes his gaze on one boy and two girls. He takes Funanya's hand, and together they trudge into the thick smoke and fog, refusing to be disappeared. Philip enters a home that's been ransacked by killing crews. There's blood splatter on the wall, and a dark, familiar stench. Philip doesn't want to think about what happened to the owners. For a moment he sees his mother approaching him, but then she disappears to reveal Funanya. She approaches Philip with some salvaged school supplies. Sometimes drawing helps get your mind off things. Philip shakes his head. He doesn't want to draw, and he doesn't want to do math. He doesn't want to do anything but wake up from this terrible nightmare. He stares at the other boy, Amika, as he draws a picture of his village. He has a dozen colors to choose from, but he only uses black. Funanya doesn't understand why, but none of the colors appeal to him. It's as though he stopped seeing color. Philip stares at the picture of the colorless village and steps outside where Nikki and Chica keep watch. He shows them his father's lucky bell, though he's not sure it's so lucky anymore. He hands it to Nikki, explains she should ring it if she sees anything. "I hate the smell of kerosene." Funanya nods and agrees with Philip. It's not the kerosene, but everything else attached to it. Nikki looks at Funanya and asks why the crews are burning everything. Funanya doesn't answer, and maybe she doesn't know. Philip turns to her. They are burning evidence. Nikki and Chica look to Funanya, and she nods. Philip hears his grandmother's voice. Death plus destruction equals good business for devils disguised as humans. Philip grinds his teeth and answers the disembodied voice. They should all be killed. Those who pay for murder and those who profit from murder. Funanya stares at him. "Philip, don't say such things. They are trying to take our humanity from us, and that is the one thing they cannot have unless we give it to them." Philip feels his face harden. "I don't want a sermon. I want my family back. I want them to pay for what they did." Funanya puts a hand on his shoulder. "Pray to the Angel of Mercy that we survive so that we may bear witness." Philip stares past her at the growing night. "I'd rather pray to the Angel of Death and watch them suffer. Forgive and be forgiven? I can't. I hate them. How can they take money to do such things? There will be justice, Philip. They will not get away with their crimes." Philip doesn't say anything. He doesn't say anything because, like his father, he believes that those with money those who can afford killing crews and the quantities of kerosene required to burn humans by the thousands can get away with any crime they choose to commit, even mass murder. She can pray for mercy all she likes. He'd rather pray for vengeance. Those who profit from murder are worse than animals. He can't get the idea out of his head that people would do such dreadful things for money. If he survives this, if he escapes this scorching hell, he'll have his revenge. He can't help but share his dark thoughts with Funanya, who says that an eye for an eye is not the way, that an eye for an eye would make the whole world go blind and plunge us all into infinite night. The world go blind? The world is already blind to what is happening to him and his people. To hell with the world. The world doesn't care. All this unrest and destruction was meant to happen. It was a mathematical formula to divide and conquer and rob his country of its beloved resources. He heard the elders say this 100 times. Funanya gives him more wise words from dead leaders, and he stops talking about revenge. For a moment, he thinks that maybe she's right. Maybe revenge is not the solution. Maybe the world will one day wake up from its slumbering indifference and help his people. Nikki hands Philip back his bell in the dark night. It's his turn to watch for killing crews, but he hasn't slept in days, and his eyelids are stones. He holds his bell close to his heart, and for a moment, just a moment, he closes his eyes. Just for 1 minute. He awakens in the heat of the morning with a start and a terrible feeling. He vaults to his feet and searches for his new friends. He finds one. Pieces of one. Of another. He's not sure. He hears someone moaning. He searches and finds Funanya. Not dead, but dying. Sliced at every tendon, writhing in agony, covered in something golden. Honey. They poured honey over her, and a million tiny black things swim, drown, and gorge on the gold and crimson streams dripping from her open wounds. The ants are crawling under her skin and eating her alive. He kneels beside her and tries to swat them away, but it's no use. They're everywhere. Funanya whimpers and sputters blood as she tries to speak, but her tongue is missing, and all that issues is a terrible rattling noise. Philip kneels before her. He doesn't know what to say or do. I fell asleep. I'm sorry. So sorry. But sorry doesn't put her back together again. Sorry doesn't get rid of the ants or bring back the children she was protecting. She barely scratches something with her finger in the dirt. I forgive. Philip stares at the words for a long moment. Silent tears fall as he raises his hand in front of her face. She closes her eyes and waits for her suffering to end. He doesn't want to do it, but he has to. He knows he has to. He closes his eyes and lowers his hand over her mouth and nose. And for a moment, just a moment, he becomes her angel of mercy.
Yikes.
Philip enters another decimated village under the cover of darkness and sees a crew. A killing crew. Maybe the very ones who killed his guardian. Maybe the very ones who killed his grandmother. His parents. No hell is good enough for these demons who would take money to disappear people. They're cooking something by a fire, laughing and making jokes at the expense of those they butchered. They talk about his people as though they were animals. No, less than animals. No one takes pride or ridicules the animals they slaughter. He's never seen anything like it. Dogs without humanity, that's what they are. Dogs. Rabid dogs. Nothing less, nothing more.
Go lay down, girl. Go lay down.
Something ancient tugs at him. He feels darkness like a tendril from another world take hold of his young, innocent heart. Not young or innocent anymore. He hears Funanya's voice. Forgive and be forgiven. forgiven. But he doesn't want to forgive, and he doesn't want to be forgiven. He wants them to suffer like they made his people suffer. He wants them to suffer for taking everything from him. He hears his grandmother's voice, trying to distract him from his dark thoughts of revenge with infinite math problems. But over her voice is the raging, maddening heartbeat of his hate. Her voice screams out equations and challenges, but he glares at the men. He feels kerosene coursing through his veins, and he's ready to explode. An eye for an eye, and the whole world plunges into infinite night. Good. Philip notices the guns by the jeep. He could grab one and shoot them all. But he's never used a gun, and they'd probably run away. He could find a knife or machete, but these dogs would overpower him. Just walk away, Philip. Never look back. It's your duty to survive and bear witness. He ignores the voices in his head and only wants one thing. He wants them to suffer and disappear. He wants to... yes. Take their kerosene and make them disappear the same way they made his friends and family disappear. In a swirl of smoke. And for a moment, just a moment, he is the angel of death swooping through infinite night.
Alright then. Let's see the little clip. Get them, little boy. Get them. Oh God, his face. Ring that bell, boy. Alright then. Last one. Still got some food to eat, so I'm still gonna be quiet through most of it.
Arcus, 984. More luminous energy, sent to me by an unknown ally. With this energy, I was able to open a small window that allowed me to look into a lost realm, where I saw, to my great surprise, a city with survivors, living as though nothing was out of the ordinary. The window eventually closed, and I spent the entire evening imagining how such a thing could be possible, or if it was merely an illusion. The same night, another surge of energy permitted me to open a doorway into a realm I didn't much recognize or dare explore. I stared at the scintillating doorway until it faded out of existence. It's as though the one manifesting these sacred glyphs is trying to help me delve deeper into the mysteries of this dimension. Or perhaps he is suggesting that the answers to my salvation are hidden amongst the countless realms discarded by this old one since time immemorial. Arcus, 985. Instead of reading aloud in my usual way, I clambered to the roof of my tower and conjured a fire and a radio to listen to some ghost stories from a half-remembered radio serial from Terra Dark. Without a doubt, listening to these stories has proven to be the best way to pass the time, especially when you've got endless voices clattering in your head, bringing you down with their endless agonies and anxieties. Later, I used the Aurus to manifest the storyteller to read his stories like he had done for his weekly podcast. He was composed of ever-moving black fog, and I suspect that one day I'll actually be able to recreate create a more realistic person to listen to, or perhaps even engage with in something that resembles a conversation. Listening to the storyteller and hearing familiar expressions, I am wondering, how do I keep myself out of my own creations? The memories I attempt to record as fast as I experience them prove one thing to me. They show me objectivity is impossible, or elusive at best, and I'm never quite sure if my logs are a true and accurate depiction of the subject's memory, or a whiskey-laden interpretation of a nightmare. To add to my frustrations, I have recently noticed other voices have made their way into my notes. Other interpretations, other thought patterns from people whose memories I've likely spent too much time reliving. They are becoming a part of me, and that wasn't supposed to happen. Arcus 986. The storyteller kept me entertained throughout the night with his gory tales of Nosferatu, so that I almost forgot my own personal living nightmare. His stories entertain and make for a perfect distraction when smashing golf balls into the abyss just won't suffice. There have been countless tales of vampires, and to be certain I've read most of them. But to my mind, his are the most chilling. More than once now I've woken in a cold sweat, with the sense that my tower has been overrun by these horrible creatures with fangs for teeth. Arcus 987. Another incident woke me in the middle of the night. An incredible surge of energy coming to me from an undetermined source. At first, I thought my mind had given way to illusions and wild imaginings, until I realized the energy surging through my tower was widening yet another doorway into a lost realm composed of memories from an unremembered civilization lost to time. I approached and stared into the remnants of a war-torn, abandoned city, with the eerie cry of a baby echoing in the distance. Just as I made to enter the lost realm, the scintillating doorway shrunk and sizzled out of existence. I soon realized it may very well be possible to explore this old one from my tower with the help of this unique energy and the Aurus.
Hopefully.
Arcus 5736. I have seen into the heart of this old one, and have seen things no mortal eye should see. Things that simultaneously perplex my mind and burden my conscience. With mysterious help, I have ripped open reality, searched deep within countless rifts, and seen everything tumble helplessly toward chaos and entropy, toward death and madness. And for the briefest moment, I had the ridiculous thought that the mysterious ally helping me could very well be the entity, playing its game with me, toying with me as a cat does a mouse before the claw rips the tiny jugular out. Staring out into the endless abyss of black fog, I thought that this prison could very well be another form of trial, disguised and designed to feast on all the psychic energies derived from alienation, boredom, and all those bouts of unremembered insanity. I can't help but feel millions of invisible hooks in my heart, and millions of unseen eyes all around me, watching me, waiting for me to tumble toward chaos and madness like everything else, waiting for my mind to turn against itself. This bastard of an old one wants me to kill myself, I am sure of it, or maybe I already have, and maybe I will again, and again, and again.
Yikes. Talk about the endless cycles. Well, alright then. That is the end of this tome storytelling. The next tome is going to be on the mid-chapter patch, which is probably come out like a week or two from now. So we have that to look forward to. But, anyways guys, thank you for watching this video. If y'all did enjoy this video. But, anyways guys, thank you for watching this video. If y'all did enjoy this video, and you want to see more Dead by Daylight, please let me know by leaving a like, comment, and comment. And if you're new, please do subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Anyways guys, thank you for watching. Hope you have a good day, and I will talk to you later. Goodbye everyone.